Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. A very good morning to Niranjan, Bala, Sadhna, Lakshmi, Tripti, Bhavna, Manju, Uma and all the others who are watching the video right now. Now, first of all, guys, in this session, we are going to discuss entire analysis of Hindu. We will take all articles along with the background as well as way forward. And you can also download synoptic notes, explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's see overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in today's newspaper, and this overview will tell you will be important so that you can know the art of skimming the newspaper. Now, I hope that my voice is audible to all. Now, here we have the Hindu newspaper. First of all, on page number 1, no Supreme Court stay on publication of Bihar caste survey data. So 2 days back, I have taken a big full page article on the caste survey that is being conducted by Bihar government. Now, just few information I want to tell you guys. See this particular thing, that we have regular census that is conducted every 10 years. Last census happened in 2011. 2021 census was to be held, but it has been postponed by the government as of now. But when the regular census are concerned, in that we collect the information for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, but information about every other caste, OBC caste, is not collected. For example, how many people are in X caste, what is their educational status, what is their economic status. Such caste wise data, particularly of the backward caste, is not collected. And therefore, there have been the demand for many of the regional parties that the caste census should be conducted. Last caste census in India happened in 1931. Center government has refused that we are not going to conduct the caste census. So Bihar government on their own has started conducting the caste census in 2022. There were the petitions that the Bihar government cannot do that. Patna High Court upheld that Bihar government can do. Then the petition was filed in Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also have refused to put a stay on that. Okay, so this is about it. Then further moving on, 3 killed in Manipur's Naga-dominated district. Though guys, this is a lot of a misfortunate thing that is going on, but we are not required to track every day this particular details as what is the status right now. Innovation in healthcare must be for public good. We'll take this particular article for examination. Uh, Commission charge, 40% commission charge during BJP regime, not important for examination. Then further moving on, we have these advertisements. Person who forward abusive post can't escape liability, Supreme Court. So basically guys, understand this thing that we today see that a large number of people, they are just forwarding hateful messages, fake messages, misinformed post on WhatsApp, on Facebook, Instagram, etc. And these posts often become the reason for communal tension, social tensions. Many time it is provided that we are not the first originator of that message. We received and we forwarded that. So Supreme Court has provided that even if you have forwarded, you have to face the consequences. Simply you cannot shrug that I did not wrote this message, I am not the originator of this message. Okay, moving on guys, in this particular direction, we then have the regional section, and in the regional section, city section, we have the news, which actually are not much important. Lok Sabha poll in Delhi will be fought over issue of statehood. Okay, riots in Delhi, and then the regional political issues are there. Chandrayaan 3 lander successfully undergoes a deboosting, says ISRO. So already guys, we have seen it many number of times that when we talk about Chandrayaan 3, it has been launched. It is expected to land on moon on 23rd of August. So when it will land on moon and when it will relay the information from moon, important findings are something that you have to see. Every minute detail that okay, now the orbit has shifted, now basically debooster stage has been attained. Every information you are not required to track for your exam, because by the time your exam will come, a lot of information, more information will come. Then further moving on, we have these advertisements again, the regional political issues, etc. So we will move on tenders, etc. to editorial page. Now on editorial page, we have the issue is not about India's GDP, but it's JDP. We will take this particular article for the examination. Violence in the name of blasphemy exposes sectarian fault lines in Pakistan. So guys, we see that in Pakistan there have been a lot of communal tensions in the past few months, in fact years, that have increased. Even there was an attack on a church that happened. However, the article doesn't contain much relevant substance for our examination, so no need to go too much in detail. A fab way to conduct India-Japan tech diplomacy, a very good article, will take it for examination. LK99 material consideration, will take this article also for examination. Then further moving on, we have this ground zero report. So basically the ground zero report, so recently a student died in Jadavpur University, okay, in West Bengal. So on that particular thing, the students are protesting, and political angle and all such kind of a things fine are coming. Fine. Now when we talk about ground zero report that comes on Saturday, this particular article is reported from the ground. People, their personal accounts, all these things are reported. Article doesn't contains much of substance for exam point of view. Then further moving on, so today is a Saturday, and on Saturday we don't have text and context page, which is a 2-page section in Hindu newspaper, and it contains really good articles. So it's not published on Saturday. So therefore we don't have that section today. Then further moving on, Supreme Court adjourns hearing on Umar Khalid's bail. Nothing important for examination. Political articles, etc. have been given. Okay, so nothing much important has been given. So directly we will skip this particular section. Okay, and then here we have these tenders, etc. Moving on, 25 students suicides since 2018 are ragging related. We will take this article briefly with respect to exam dimension. Then after that, moving on, Supreme Court reserves order on whether children from invalid marriages can inherit ancestral property. After that, we have business page. In business page, signs of revival amid trade slump. So guys, see this thing, that global economic position is not very much good, largely because of multiple issues that are going on. Number one, post-pandemic recovery is still very much fragile. Secondly, Russia-Ukraine war is leading to a lot of geopolitical troubles. Because of that also, international economy is not good. Then third, inflation is very much high. Okay. Then there is subdued growth in also developing countries. Because of that thing, global economy has got negatively impacted. And because of that particular thing, guys, India's trade also have got impacted. So here we see this particular thing, that now the signs of revival is, we can see signs of revival. Even investment related imports, they are increasing. Now one thing, you are not required to track that, okay, month by month, how much import got increased, how much export got increased, what is trade deficit every month by month, because by time your exam will come, these all datas will change. Okay. One more thing is, guys, that see, when we talk about state of Indian economy, for state of Indian economy, broad articles every week, every 4 days, 5 days, they come in editorial section. So if you are following editorial sections, every other third day, fourth day, there is an economy article that is coming, and it gives a very good picture with respect to the state of Indian economy. Okay, so that will do. Okay, then further moving on, after that, Moody's affirms India's rating, flags Manipur. RBI tells lenders not to levy penal interest rate on borrowers. Okay, then we have the world page. Okay, on world page, all just evolutionary details are going on. Will not support forces of darkness, says Pakistan's caretaker prime minister. Russia says it destroyed Ukrainian drones. So Russia-Ukraine war, Pakistan's political crisis. Then British nurse found guilty of murdering 7 babies. Okay, all these things have been there. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that here you see this particular thing. This particular article, though you are not required to go too much in detail in this, but it becomes an ethical issue. Now when we talk about this British nurse, what she has done, she has fed young children with poisonous milk, and she is most prolific, most deadly child killer in the history of UK. So these kind of things actually are concerning, because the duty of a nurse, a paramedic, a doctor is to give life, and here such kind of things actually have happened. It clearly because of the ethical decline that has happened. Then further moving on, we have this sports page. Okay, that is all about it. Science page also is not there. Fine, because it is Saturday. So this is about overview, and I hope that you have understood this overview. And guys, one thing I repeat it again and again. See, frankly and honestly, I don't want that you should always be dependent on our video. I want that you also should learn the art of reading newspaper at yourself. So therefore we give this overview so that you learn art of decoding which articles are important, which articles are not important, which articles are just to be seen in headlines. So please try to be very careful while we are seeing this overview, because once you have seen it for like 10, 15, 20 days, you will try to identify, you will start to identify the patterns in paper. So this is our approach, because I frankly want that you should develop your own capacities to decode articles at your own. Now, so this is synoptic notes that you can download from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. So today, in every class, we take a GS quotation, and idea of this GS quotation is to give you some quote, ideas, content that you can use to complement in your GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 or essay. Today, we'll take quote from Peter Drucker. So Peter Drucker says, the ultimate resource in economic development is people. It is people, not capital or raw material, that develop an economy. So he is talking about a human resource, which is more important than physical resource and financial resource. If a country has a human resource, that human resource can augment every other resource. So therefore, first investment by a nation should be carried in human resource, and how human resource can be enhanced, can be expanded by doing interventions in education, skill development, health. If your workforce will be healthy, educated, skilled, then that workforce will act as a resource which will bring economic growth, economic progress, economic development for every nation. And every nation which has become an economic power, it is because of the human resource. So ultimate resource is people, not physical resource. One thing. So that is all about the GS quotation for today. Okay. And now moving on. Okay guys, just briefly to inform you that we are launching our ethics foundation course from 23rd of August, and a lot of you have already enrolled in the course. If you have not, and if you wish to do that, please you can visit in our description box. I have given the link of Google form. You can fill that Google form, and after you fill that Google form, we will direct you for the admission process. So the batch is going to start on 23rd of August, and we have very few seats. If you are interested, you can join it. Then, first article for today, innovations in healthcare must be for public good. Prime Minister. Okay. Now, innovations in healthcare must be for public good. Prime Minister. This particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to health. GS paper number 2, issues related to health. Now, first of all, before going on in this particular article, let me give you some background information that will help you in any answer on health that will come. Understand this particular thing. As we talk about article number 21 of Indian Constitution. Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty. However, Supreme Court in multiple of judgments have expanded the scope of Article 21, and in Bandhua Mukti Morcha case, in Bandhua Mukti Morcha case, Supreme Court provided that right to health, Supreme Court provided that right to health is already integrated in article number 21. And when we talk about health, health happens to be most important and basic entitlement that has to be given to the citizens of a nation. One more thing I just want to tell you guys, that when we talk about health, good health, first of all, what is good health? According to WHO, health is not just absence of disease, rather health is condition of physical and mental well-being. And for that physical and mental well-being, state has to strive to ensure universal health care, universal health care. Now, what is universal health care? Universal health care means that there should be a health setup which is available, affordable, and accessible to all. Your paying capacity should not be a limitation for accessibility of health. So, good healthcare system depends on three A's. Number one, it should be available. Hospitals should be there. Doctors should be there. Second, it should be affordable. Okay, everybody should be able to. It should not be beyond the paying capacity, and it should be accessible. Now, see this thing. Suppose you have government hospital just at 2 kilometer distance. It is available. Treatment is free, affordable, but it is full packed to capacity. There are no beds. It is not accessible to you. Okay, so good healthcare system needs to be available, affordable, and accessible. And for that particular thing, government had to, number one, ensure physical infrastructure. Secondly, government has to ensure human resource, doctors, paramedics. And number three, now government also has to use the technologies to provide good healthcare to people. How the role of technology comes? Let's understand it through one example. Let's understand it through one example. See this particular thing. Today, suppose there is this person who lives in a village, and in this village, population is just 500 people. It is not possible for government to open hospital here because just 500 people are there. Nearest hospital is, let's say, 50 kilometer away. So for this person, health is neither available nor accessible. Okay, affordability becomes other issue. What we can do, we can use the technology, and through telemedicine, we can provide healthcare to this particular person. Okay, so here technology can be used. So countries have to embrace technologies. So now what is going on? Right now, India is leading G20. India is presiding over G20. Fine, India is right now the chairman at G20. Prime Minister has addressed one of a meeting of G20 in Gandhinagar, and there Prime Minister has emphasized on health. One side thing I just want to tell you, as we are leading G20 for 2023, within G20 many things have been discussed. For example, theme of climate change has been discussed, theme of renewable energies have been discussed, theme of clean energy transition has been discussed. Now here we are going to discuss theme of health. Within G20, certain developments have happened on health front. Let me tell you these developments first of all briefly. First of all, development that has happened in G20 on health front, it is, just let me zoom so that you can see more clearly. Yes. So first development that has happened on health front is that WHO has asked countries that they should utilize the power of traditional medicine. Now, when we talk about traditional medicine in India, we have Ayush, Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddh, homeopathy. These are traditional medications, and these traditional medications can hold promising results for healthcare system. Modern medicines is called as allopathy, but along with allopathy, you can also use Ayurveda, you can also use Yoga, Unani, Siddh, homeopathy. So WHO has asked countries that they should explore how they can use these traditional medications also. One development. Second development that has happened here is that WHO and India, this article we have discussed also, I think yesterday or day before yesterday. India and WHO, they both are collaborating for Global Initiative on Digital Health. Now, what is this Global Initiative on Digital Health? So, I told you just 2 minutes back that digital technologies can be used for better health delivery. For example, guys, let me give you examples. Number one, we can use telemedicine, we can use teleconsultation for giving health prescriptions to people. One. Now, secondly, how we can use technology for delivering medicine to doorstep of people who don't have accessibility to pharmacy. So e-pharmacy, electric pharmacy, internet pharmacies can be there. Third, health can also be used for health data management. Now let's say this particular thing, guys, that there is a person. Now this person might have undergone a lot of medical tests, x-rays, MRIs, a lot of things. if a person is dealing with a particular health crisis, right now all the health record, all the health data has to be maintained in physical copies, and that data management becomes very much tedious. Many number of a time people are not able to maintain their medical history, so every time they have to go and have to do a new X-ray, new MRI, everything. So their data management can also be done in digital format. It will bring ease for poor people, particularly who cannot afford expensive diagnostic test every time. It will helpful to a doctor also, because if doctor can access your entire 10 year of medical history, doctor can give you better treatment. So for health data management, technology can be used. For telemedicine, teleconsultation, technology can be used. For delivery of drugs, technologies can be used, and there can be many other ways also technology can be used. So this global initiative on digital health, under this particular thing, we will ensure that how digital health can be provided through technology, health can be provided. It is aimed at data convergence, okay, interface of health platforms, how health platforms can use technology for better health delivery for people. Even here, under this global initiative on digital health, we will also try to mobilize investments from investors, investments for startups on digital health ecosystem. Okay, so this is something that this global initiative on digital health is focusing, and WHO and India has launched this in Gandhinagar as a part of G20. So this is second development that has happened. Now, Prime Minister has specifically emphasized on this digital health aspect, and Prime Minister has specifically provided that it will allow countries in Global South to close the gap in healthcare delivery. Now, first of all, what is the meaning of this Global South? So, Global South is a term that refers to developing and underdeveloped country. Now, if you see, if you just recall world map, you see that in northern hemisphere we have North America, we have Western Europe, and other European countries. Europe and North America, it largely host developed rich countries with high per capita income. But when we talk about southern hemisphere of world, we here have Latin America, South America, Africa, large Asia falls here. Apart from Australia and New Zealand, most of the countries in southern hemisphere, they are underdeveloping, they are poor, they are emerging economies. So global south refers to developing countries. India is also the part of global south. And just one additional information, 2022 India has also hosted global south summit, where India is projecting itself as a leader of the global south. Now, Prime Minister has said that it will help Global South for closing gap in healthcare delivery. I told you that these developing countries, they don't have resources to develop hospital in every small village. Through telemedicine, it can be helped. Also, Prime Minister has talked about one more health issue, that is antimicrobial resistance. Antimicrobial resistance. Now, today, antimicrobial resistance has become a very big concern. And just let me give you some extra data. When we talk about COVID-19, large number of people didn't died because of COVID. Actually, they recovered by COVID, recovered from COVID, and after COVID, they got they developed certain infections. Okay, for example, black fungus. You might have heard in the news. They died because of common infections, because their immunity got suppressed a lot during COVID. Now, understand this particular thing. A large number of people, over the period, they developed antimicrobial resistance. Fine. Now, you see this particular thing. Suppose a person got infected by any infection. It could be a bacterial infection, it could be viral infection. So if a bacterial or viral infection is there, what you do? You give antibiotics to this person, and these antibiotics will fight against that bacterial or viral infection. But over a period of time, over consumption of antibiotics, what happens? It makes your body resistant to these antibiotics, and even these antibiotics will not work on you, and their antimicrobial resistance develops. And particularly people who have compromised immunities, people having diabetes, they are more prone to develop these antimicrobial resistance. And because of this particular thing, large number of people are dying today. And even people who have tuberculosis, they also developed antimicrobial resistance, and they are also facing a lot of threat. So therefore, we need to have strategies as how to deal with this antimicrobial resistance that has developed that is now becoming a big health concern. Okay, so all these particular things have specifically been provided by Prime Minister. Also, guys, we have also opened up WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine in Jamnagar, Gujarat. WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine, which will advance as how traditional medicine such as Ayurveda, yoga, and all such traditional medicines can be used for the treatment. Because I told you, and one more additional information I want to tell you, that AIMS has also started to work on integrative medicine. What is integrative medicine? Now, integrative medicine is that let's integrate traditional medicines with modern medicine, allopathy. So this actually we have worked upon. Guys, please use these references in your answer when you are writing. Okay. Then next thing is that basically Prime Minister has also provided that health and environment are closely organically related. See this particular thing. If you breathe clean air, drink clean water, you have access to nutritious food, automatically your immunity will be good, a lot of disease will be at bay. So therefore, access to clean air, safe drinking water, sufficient nutrition, secure shelter, these are major factors to health. Fine. So these particular things also need to be provided. So that is all about this particular article, and here we have taken this article along with background and necessary information that we need to plug the gap. Guys, one more thing is that I try to provide you a lot of background information. Please try if you note down these points. Okay, because over a period of time, as you will note down these backgrounds and these things, it will give you a better understanding, and at your own you would be able to decode the gaps in the articles. Moving on to next article, material consideration for search. Material consideration, the search for a room temperature superconductor is far from over. Now, this particular article we will see with respect to GS paper number 3, science and technology, as well as for prelims examination. Prelims examination, science and technology, we will see this particular article. First of all, guys, this particular article, it is containing a particular type of information which is not important for examination. I will come on that, but first of all, let me tell you some basic background information that is important for examination, however, not given in this article. Basically, let me tell you from the start. So, there are superconductors. There are superconductors. Now, what are the superconductors? Superconductors are those materials. Superconductors are those materials which allow flow of electricity, without resistance, Now, guys, see this particular thing. Today, for example, even if you are using computer, you might have observed that in your computer there is a small fan. Why that small fan is there? Because when your computer is operating, it generates a heat. Okay, if you need to transmit electricity, if you need to, for example, if I have to transmit electricity from one point to other point, what will happen? A lot of resistance there will be in between. It will generate a lot of heat, and a lot of crucial electricity will also be wasted. Okay, this is a very big problem. Now, superconductors are those materials which allow the flow of electricity without resistance. So therefore, no heat will be generated and no loss will happen due to resistance, number one. Also, they have magnetic properties. They also expel magnetic properties. So some semiconductors, what happen? For example, they expel magnetic forces. Okay, so there are these superconductors. These superconductors have a lot of application in electronics industry. They have a lot of application in real world. But there is one problem. If you need to have, now these superconductors, they are not stable at room temperature. There are many elements, there are many materials which behave as superconductors, but they behave as superconductor under two conditions. A, they need a lot of pressure, or they need absolute sub-zero temperature. Absolute zero temperature. At a very cold temperature, they behave as superconductors. And always it is not possible to create such cold temperature, absolute sub-zero temperature, you cannot create it, and so much of pressure, you cannot create it. So therefore, superconductors, as of now, the materials which behave as superconductors, they are useless for the science. So therefore, we need such material which can have this superconductor properties at room temperature, at ambient temperature, without that much pressure. If anybody is able to find such a stable superconductor, it will change the science of electronic appliances. So around the world, scientists are trying to find those materials which can behave as a superconductor at room temperature without huge pressure. So this is right now the search that is going on in the entire world. So this is basic background information that you need to know. Okay. Now guys, what actually happened? Certain scientists in South Korea, they discovered this particular material LK99. LK99. And they said that this LK99 is a superconductor. It behaves as a superconductor at a room temperature, and they published their findings. Now what happened? As they published their finding on internet, within no time, entire scientific community of the world, scientists came together and they started reviewing their document, that whether this new material LK99 that they have found, is it really a superconductor? Yes or no? And finally what happened? It was found that it is not really a superconductor. It is not really a superconductor. This conclusion actually came. Okay, now this article is just explaining this particular controversy, that a hype was created, then the scientists came together, one group of scientists said this, one group of scientists said that. Not absolutely important for examination. Okay, but what are superconductors? What are properties of superconductor? Fine. Why it is difficult to have superconductor? This is something that you need to know, which we discussed in background. So please take a noting of that particular thing. Now guys, just one important takeaway we can take from this particular article, and this takeaway is this, that what actually happened, the power of social media was used very constructively in this particular episode. What actually happened? There was online diffusion of information and data that came. These South Korean scientists, they published their findings, and what happened? Entire world, fine, there was near real-time collaboration. Fine, crowd organized documentation, collaborations happened. Okay, and actually they conclusively proved that whether it is a superconductor or not. So for a very constructive purpose, on internet community, they came together. They used social media, they used internet platforms as a very constructive thing. So point is that such participation can lead to more good science, but at the same time, often it can also bring some bad faith actors. So this is a very positive example that how real science collaboration happened in the case of superconductor. So I hope guys that you have understood this particular thing. Okay. Otherwise, in article, much information has not been given. Specific findings of LK99, etc. that has been given. One more thing is guys, that hundreds and thousands of such research journals and papers are published every year. So it's not that you will now go and you will make notes of that research paper. At the end of the day, if some conclusively could have proved, then we could have gone too much in detail in that. Okay, let's take the doubts that are there. Very good morning to all of you. Sir, good morning. We could decode the newspaper, but the background information that you explain will not get on our own. We can't skip the video. We can't study on our own newspaper. Siddhant, first of all, I express my gratitude towards your faith and your belief in our video. But at the same time, I will again insist that, see, our objective here is just to build your capabilities, and please have a faith in you also. Over a period of time, you will have so much of information at your own that you will know most of these things. So that will happen over a period of time. I'm pretty sure for that. Moving on to next article. The issue is not about India's GDP, but its JDP. So this particular article, guys, we are going to take with respect to GS paper number 3, issues related to Indian economy, issues and themes related to Indian economy. Okay. Now, moving on. So, first of all, there is little bit of a political background that has been given. Not that much important, but let's see it in just one or two lines so that you get a crisp idea. So guys, recently as a parliament monsoon session was held, what happened? Government, opposition and ruling government, their ministers, their leaders, they are having a kind of a confrontation kind of a thing, that under whose regime GDP grew well, whether it was under UPA or whether it is under the present government, that is NDA. So whether UPA led to more economic growth or whether the present NDA government led to more economic growth. So both of the sides are saying that it was our under regime, our under rule, that GDP grew. This is something that is happening. Okay. So now guys, author says this particular thing, that right now government claims that GDP has actually growth, has actually become double. GDP growth has become double, and even according to certain estimates, it is being said that we have also grew at a double-digit growth. Now, author points out this particular thing, that if economy is performing so good, then why the demand for MG Narega work is increasing? Why the demand for MG Narega work is increasing? Now, see this thing, when we talk about MG Narega, here people are provided minimum wage for unskilled work. So wages are not that much good. If I have some other high paying job, I will go there. I will not work in MG Narega. When a person will come under for MG Narega, he will come only then when he is not able to find anywhere, he is not able to find work anywhere else. Under economic desperation, MG Narega demand increases. And it has been said that right now the demand for MG Narega work is all time high. MG Narega should be inversely proportional to economic growth. Should be inversely proportional to economic growth. Now, the students who find it difficult, what is inversely proportional means? When GDP will grow, when opportunities will be created, when jobs will be there, demand for MG Narega will go down. Okay, this is inverse relation. But it is not happening. Now, we have this particular, now see, please note down this particular data in your booklet, in your notes. And earlier also we have discussed it multiple number of times. Now see, during 1980 to 1990, every 1% growth in GDP, 1% growth in GDP created 2 lakh, created 2 lakh formal jobs, created 2 lakh formal jobs. So if GDP will increase by 2%, 4 lakh jobs will be created. If GDP will increase 3%, 6 lakh jobs will be created. So 1% growth in GDP led to 2 lakh new jobs. Okay. But when we came in 1990s, it got half, means 1% GDP growth will create 1 lakh job. 2% GDP growth will create 2 lakh jobs. It got half. And now it has been said, that it had even reduced in 2010 to 2020. It has reduced even that. So today, though GDP is growing, but jobs, new jobs are not getting created. So it is a kind of a jobless growth that is going on. And this jobless growth phenomena is not unique to India. It has become a global economic problem. So today, job growth is not able to create, GDP growth is not able to create new jobs. This is a very big problem that is facing. Now, this article also has given a particular suggestion that how this particular thing needs to be tamed. And here they have given the reference of the government's new Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2023. Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2023. Now, first of all, let me give you a little bit of a background information about this particular bill, and then we'll go in this article. By the way, if you are following our newspaper analysis regularly, you already know, because I think just 3-4 days back, I have discussed this entire issue. There was one-page article that came in Text and Context. There we discussed it. Let me give you. So basically, guys, what government is now doing? So basically, there are a lot of, let me use a different new page. Let's see. There are atomic minerals. See, there are atomic minerals. These atomic minerals can only be exploited by government, can only be exploited by government and government agencies, can only be exploited by government and government agencies. Now, under this list of atomic minerals, there are a lot of minerals which are critical for new technologies. Fine, there are deep-seated critical minerals that are there. And these critical minerals actually are needed for these, they are needed in the renewable energies, tech industry, Fine, all such kind of a thing. So what government has done? Government has denotified. Government has denotified certain minerals, and they have been certain, see, certain atomic minerals, they got denotified, and these minerals now are referred to as critical minerals, and these critical minerals now can be exploited by private parties. So I hope you got it. Fine. So few minerals which were earlier atomic minerals, they got denotified, and now they are named not as atomic minerals, they are named as critical minerals, and these critical minerals can be exploited by the private parties, can be excavated by private parties. This new permission has been given by this Mines and Mineral Development Act, and it can boost the India's economy. Let's see how it will boost the India's economy. Now see this particular thing, guys, that many of the minerals such as lithium, cobalt, graphite, rare earth materials, they can be exploited by private parties. Now you see this thing, for example, when we talk about the electric cars, electric cars, they work on batteries, and batteries are made up of lithium. And if private parties will be able to explore lithium, you might be knowing, even we have discussed that recently lithium reserves have also been found in Jammu and Kashmir, in Riyasi region of Jammu and Kashmir. So now private parties will explore these minerals, will export these minerals then to other countries, will develop technologies which use these particular minerals, will export those technologies, and it will also give impetus to our own electric industry. It will create jobs. Okay, all such economic boost will come. Now guys, you see this particular thing right now. Electric mobility, they depend on these minerals. Right now, the world countries are running towards the semiconductor chips. Today, if I tell you guys, more than 80% of semiconductor chips and more than 90% of advanced semiconductor chips, they are produced by Taiwan. Okay, so every country today wants to develop their own reliance in the semiconductor. India wants to build Atmanirbharta in semiconductor, and for that rare earth materials are needed. But in India, we have not exploited these rare earth materials. Now let me tell you some geographical facts. Now guys, see this particular thing. If we talk about India's topography, India's geology is very much similar to Afghanistan and Western Australia, and we have just explored 10% of our potential mineral deposits. Just 10% of potential we have explored. Okay, so 90% potential we have not explored. Why? Largely because up till now government has not been very much active. So now we are bringing private sector with their investment, with their technology, with their energy. They will explore this particular sector, and one more thing is that we also have 7,000 kilometer of coastline. So because of this 7,000 kilometer of coastline, also deep sea mineral mining can be done in India. But up till now it did not happen, because again the government did not had shown much of interest. By bringing the private sector in deep sea mining, critical minerals, we will be able to exploit our 90% potential which has been untapped as of now. We will be able to do that particular thing, and all this particular thing will give impetus to Indian economy. Okay, now guys, up till now there was the lack of access to latest mining technologies. There were environmental concerns that were there. Okay, also in the mining sector there were the labor exploitation issues that have been there because of this. So these are the reasons why we did not explore. But new MMA bill that we just discussed will provide that we will give you good level playing field. Ease of doing business will be improved into the mining sector, so that these problems don't come again. So by this particular bill, we can unlock India's mining potential, and by unlocking the mining potential, we can develop entire range of industries. We can develop new employment opportunities, and economic growth can come. It can solve that problem where growth came but jobs did not develop. So this problem can be solved by mining sector. So guys, this is something that we need to focus upon. So there should be focus on jobs, data, product. Find that how much jobs are being created with every percentage increase in GDP. That jobs need to be made a focus, and by mining sector we can do that particular thing. So guys, this is a very beautifully written article, and I really appreciate such kind of articles which are actually giving us so much of information. And guys, this could be a ready-made answer for your GS paper number 3, economic reforms or low-hanging fruits for Indian economy. So I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Okay, one more thing, just I just want to tell here, Semicon India, Make in India. Semicon India, just I think last week we have discussed also. Semicon India is a program that government has launched where we will focus on developing of the semiconductors, Semicon India. However, I will discuss it more in the next coming article also. Okay, so I will discuss it more also here. Okay, now as we have launched this Semicon India, and as rare earth now be allowed to private sector, and as rare earth are the backbone of semiconductors, semiconductor industry will get a boost. Fine. Now coming on in this particular article, a fab way to conduct India-Japan tech diplomacy. Okay, this particular article will see for GS paper number 2, India-Japan relations, India-Japan relations, as well as for GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3 will see this particular article with respect to Indian economy, low hanging fruits in Indian economy. For economy also, we will take this particular article. Now, let's take some of the basic background information, and after we take this information, we will be going on in this particular article. So basically guys, what has happened recently, India and Japan, they have agreed to cooperate. They have agreed to cooperate on developing a resilient supply chain for critical technologies, Okay, now see this particular thing. Today, when we talk about critical technologies, which include renewable energy and their technologies, which include semiconductors, which include computing devices, these are the critical technologies. Today we see that entire world has become dependent on China and Taiwan for the components for these critical technologies, and every country actually is now facing the repercussion of their dependence on China. Now you see this particular thing, 2020 was a eye opener for entire world, where when on one hand COVID pandemic was ravaging the havoc on entire world, and it was said that the China has contributed in this COVID pandemic. So therefore there was anger against the China, but at the same time China, countries are also dependent on China for their critical technologies. So countries developed that no, we need to diversify our critical technologies either in different countries than China or within our own country. India also started the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Just one additional point, not given in article but very important. There is this word that you might have used, decoupling and de-risking. Under this decoupling and de-risking, what is happening? Now the idea of decoupling and de-risking was American idea. Under this, they want to decouple from China and they want to develop the critical technology industry to other countries apart from China. Okay, this is something that is going on. One thing, keep it on side. Then second, friend shoring concept. Today, America says this particular thing, that if we want to be dependent, see, no country can be self-dependent on everything. You have to have dependence on some other thing, on some other person. You need to realize that. So America says that, yes, we have to be dependent on some other countries for certain things, but we will depend on our friends. Fine. Who are the friends? Friends are those countries which are value on the basis of value aligned to America. So friend shoring concept has also become very popular. Now, keep these things in your mind. It will come as we will go in this particular article. Now guys, what has happened? India and Japan, they are also collaborating with each other on critical technology. Actually, recently, India-Japan partnership on critical technology got signed, in which India and Japan will focus on 5 areas. Number 1, semiconductor design. Number 2, semiconductor manufacturing, equipment research, resilience in semiconductor supply chain. Now, this is very important. I told you that more than 80% of semiconductors and more than 90% of advanced semiconductors today, the world is dependent on Taiwan. So we need to develop resilience in semiconductor supply chain. Okay, we want India also, that India also develop semiconductors and supply it to the world. Then talent development, You also need human resource, so talent development. Okay, government to government cooperation, industry to industry collaboration. All these areas will be focused in this India Japan partnership on critical technologies. Now, guys, basically today you already know this particular thing that the Japan has been the world leader in technologies. Fine. So, what will happen as the part of this India Japan partnership? There will be the exchange of technical knowledge that will happen. Japan will provide the technical know-how to India. There will be joint research and innovation that will be carried between Indian and Japanese semiconductor industries, and both will identify the ways that how India and Japan can further move in the semiconductor manufacturing and semiconductor development. Okay, so therefore this is something, and we want to be at forefront of semiconductor advancement. Now, guys, when we talk about the manufacturing sector, for the manufacturing sector, we have two most important schemes. Number one is Make in India, and number two is the Production Linked Incentive Scheme. You might have read Production Linked Incentive Scheme, and even I think we have discussed it at least 20-30 times. What is Production Linked Incentive Scheme? Under Production Linked Incentive Scheme, incremental, basically for the incremental sales, 3 to 5% of incentive will be provided by India. Okay, so if you come, bring industry in India, and if you produce in India, we will give you increment and incentives. This is the PLI. Actually, what we have done, Make in India of India. So basically, India's Make in India and Japan's Society 5.0. India's Make in India and Japan's Society 5.0, which focuses on technological self-reliance, innovation-driven growth, and manufacturing sector. Okay, they have been aligned together. Fine. Now, one more angle comes here, guys, that basically this partnership will also get benefit because of the geopolitical issues right now that are going on in the world. Let's talk about this geopolitical issue. Right now, America and China, they have developed a lot of rivalry between them, largely because of Russia-Ukraine war, and largely because today America sees that the China can be adversary of America, and China can be the contender for American supremacy, American hegemony. Who can contend? China can contend. So therefore, what is happening? Now, very clearly, America wants to detach from China in terms of the semiconductor. Okay, within Indo-Pacific region, a lot of troubles are going on, and the countries, they want to diversify. The semiconductor supply chain. And if I give you example here, you see this particular thing, that what happened, USA has also passed US Chips and Science Act of 2022, and as per this US Chips and Science Act, USA will develop their own reliance in semiconductor industry and will diversify the semiconductor industry from China, Taiwan to other countries. And who are these other countries? You remember that friend shoring concept, India and Japan. So India and Japan, by developing their own semiconductor base, can cater to the West, such as the US and European countries. So for this particular thing also, this particular partnership will become very much important. Recently, Japan and Netherlands, they have also joined the US in restricting exports of semiconductor to China. Okay, so here this particular partnership will become even more meaningful for India. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. And with this, we come to an end to this article. Now moving to next article. 25 student suicides since 2018 are ragging related, UGC says in RTI response. So guys, recently we have seen that a student died in a university in West Bengal, and in past many students, they have committed suicides largely because of the ragging that they face at campuses. Though there is a zero tolerance policy for ragging, there has to be a zero tolerance policy for ragging as per the UGC directives, but still in campuses, colleges, there are these ragging incidents that are going on. And according to RTI data, 25 student suicide are directly linked to ragging from 2018. So basically, guys, here the issue of suicides, the issue of ragging has to be taken more seriously by professors, college administration, even the student community, student unions also. Basically, it has been provided that higher educational institution, they need to provide a very clear guideline and a very clear mandate as how ragging can be prevented. And we need to learn from successful case studies around the world, and even students who are in stress or students whose mental health is impacted. These students are particularly be carefully be these students should be provided assistance by universities so that they don't take these extreme steps such as suicide, because this actually is a very big and troubling, and this is actually a very heartening social crisis that society is facing. Okay, however guys, the article is giving data that how many suicides in different states happened. Okay, that microscopic state wise data you don't need to go. However, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, they have reported 4 deaths each. Fine. But that data, you don't need to go too much in detail. Then moving on, guys, Supreme Court reserves order on whether children from invalid marriages can inherit ancestral property. Now, there are, now guys, invalid marriages, void marriages, null marriages that are there. Under those marriages, if a child, if a children has been born, can they inherit the ancestral property or not? Now, this issue is this particular judgment is to be delivered by Supreme Court, but up till now they have reserved that particular judgment. Section 16 subclause 3, section 16 subclause 3 of the Hindu Marriage Act, this has to be interpreted by Supreme Court. But again guys, number one, we are not reading law, or we are not reading law, civil law or IPC or any such kind of a thing. Number one, we are not reading law. Number two, up till now final judgment of Supreme Court has not come. So as of now, no need to go too much in detail in this particular article, because the moment you will see Supreme Court reserves order, Supreme Court children, fine, marriages, these words come, automatically you will think that this is a very important article for society. But as of now, article doesn't contains too much of substance in this particular direction. Is it clear or not? The judgment has been reserved as of now, so no need to go too much in detail. And then we have mains practice question, which says India needs to focus on the job intensity of economic initiatives rather than merely chasing headline GDP growth comment. So this will be GS paper number 3, 10 marker question. So that is all guys about it, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, one thing is that Sunday we keep a day for revision of the entire week's newspaper, one thing. Secondly, on Sunday there is neither text and context that is published, nor there is editorial that is published. Then there are lifestyle leisure pages that are there, which usually don't contains much of a substance. So understand this particular thing, that aspirants often and I see it in 99% of aspirants, that once current affairs have been done, you just don't even revise that. But just reading it will not solve the problem. You have to retain that information so that you can use information in exam. So please have one day for revision. Okay. So that is about it, and with this we come to an end to today's newspaper analysis, and that is all guys about it. I hope you have understood it. Now we'll be meeting on Monday for newspaper analysis. Till then, please take care of yourselves, and please do revise the entire week's current affairs as well as your other static subjects. Thank you so much.